We need to speak about England, Michael Vaughan. Now, how are you guys going to come out here and play well? I mean, yes, India looked pretty good, but are you lacking a couple of openers and maybe even an off-spinner to bring out to Australia?
This summer, they have to find combinations. I really believe, you go back to JL and Matthew Hayden at the top of the order for Australia. It was just a partnership. I don't see that many partnerships in the England batting lineup. That when they go out to bat or when they get together, you kind of sit back as a commentator or as a fan and go, "Oh, those two are back together now. We should be okay." England don't have that. So this summer, they have to try and find those combinations and those partnerships. Because as I keep saying, they can't win in Australia without getting big runs. They get 250s, 300s, which at the minute against the better teams, that's pretty much what they get. The history will tell you over the last 5 years when they've played better bowling units, England get between 250 and 300. Sometimes a little bit less than that. That won't win them the Ashes. Right. They have to learn and work how they're going to get 400, 450.
I'll summarise England for you, Vaughanie.
This will be good for sure.
You've got a decent pace and seam attack, no doubt about that. Archer, Broad, Anderson, Wood, Wokes, that's your strength. You've got no spinners and you've got... I'll give you two batsmen. You've got Root and you've got Stokes. Zach Crawley's not a bad player. You need to find three batsmen and you need to find a spinner.
But he's right also, though. I mean, you look at that Indian series, you can't take much out of that. I mean, really, those pitches were woeful.
No, but I've seen Sibley and these guys bat. I've seen them bat in England as well.
I just switch off and watch.
Yeah, I get the feeling so of all the players around the world, I think it's going to irritate you more than any. I think Dom Sibley's going to get under your...
If I've got to watch Sibley and Rory Burns bat, I'm going to have to need some alcohol.
Oh, you need you need something else on the other channel. So you can watch two at once, and then you come back and there's still none of about three off 100 balls.
I know they're gutsy players, but I'm going to need a lot of red wine to watch those boys bat. No disrespect.
Alfie, come on, Alfie, jump in.
I'm touching wood. Wood very. But look, like Rishabh Pant in the summer, I think Josh Butler and Stokes, they are very, very dangerous at the bottom end of the order. I think Jofra Archer is going to be a very important player for England. He's obviously an outstanding talent. They've got a very good bowling attack. The teams are very similarly matched to what we're talking about.
I mean, I reckon, I can't see Archer playing. I reckon he'll play 3 tests. I don't think he'll play Melbourne. I think he'll play Brisbane in the pink ball and maybe Gabba, depending. I can't see him.
Well, he's the key, definitely, as Alfie said, because he's got pace. If the ball doesn't swing...
That's why Anderson's average is pretty high here.
They've got Archer. But the batting, look, there's question marks, I think, on both sides, but more on the England side.
I mean, I think as you're saying, Vaughan, I mean, Leach is the spinner, but he's going to have to do a holding period here. He's going to have to do, a bit like a Nathan Lyon and bowl 35 overs, hopefully take 3 for 100.
Yeah, I mean, England's mechanism will be to try and do what they did in 2010-11, get big runs and then throw the ball to the likes of Anderson, Archer, Wood, Broad. Chris Wokes will be very, very important for the side because, he's going to have to bat 8. If Wokes isn't in the side, England don't have a kind of a bowling all-rounder to bat at number 8. Dom Bess was used because they felt that he may be able to fulfill that position if Wokes wasn't in the side. But, Dom's just had a tough time of it, so I don't think he's going to be a part. They played a couple of tests in India with the likes of Jofra Archer coming in at number 8, and you can't have that in Test match cricket. You have to have a little bit of substance. If you've got Josh Butler coming in at 7, he needs at least one more player behind him that he knows that can just play. He can't be just thinking, wait, I've got to start playing all my trick shots early because I can't trust the tail end. And that may be the difference. That might be the difference in the Ashes is that lower order batting of Australia, I think will get runs against England's bowling. And I think the lower order batting for England, I think it'll get blown away. I think the likes of Stark comes and know exactly what you're going to do, JL. You're going to bomb the life out of them, as I would, by the way. And I think that could be a difference. It was a difference in the last Ashes where England were quite a parity for a while. And then all of a sudden, those lower order runs were huge and crucial, got that extra 100, 120, and England were blown away. And I just got a funny feeling that might be a similar kind of story the next time round.
Vaughanie, what about the Stuart Broad and, Dave Warner? I mean, Dave Warner didn't have a great summer, but got injured. I mean, how important is it for you guys to keep the lid on him? Because if he gets going, he will have a bumper summer. I mean, Stuart Broad's probably going to have to nearly play all the test matches, I reckon, just to keep a lid on him.
Yeah, they'll look at that. But you've got to remember, it's a different ball. The Kookaburra ball won't be zipping away from the outside edge quite as much as a Duke ball here in the UK, particularly on some of the wickets that the Ashes were played on in 2019. It looked tough for the top order. You know, Hal Labuschagne scored all those runs, and Smith, in the conditions that I saw all the batters have to face, it was remarkable, really. So I don't think Warner will be too concerned about Broad. I think Jofra Archer may be the concern for David Warner. Archer's had Warner quite a few times. It's just whether Archer will be fit. That elbow's a clear issue. Yeah. He's just had an injury, actually. He's just done his finger. He dropped a goldfish bowl on his finger in the bath. I mean, that's one way of getting injured. That's how he pulled out the IPL, because he had a bit of glass from a goldfish bowl that he dropped on himself in the bath. So his elbow's the real issue. It's been injected a couple of times. I've no idea how many test matches they kind of penciled in for him for the summer. I would say probably three or four, and they'll hope, as you mentioned, BJ, to get 3 out of him in the Ashes series. But there's always that question mark and kind of finger prodded at Jofra is how much he really loves test match cricket. You know, he'll say that he does. Many that we speak to don't think he's quite got the love of test match cricket as some others around the team.
It's amazing that, Vaughan, because I read a great article from the former all-rounder Chris Lewis, who said the same thing. He said, look, often, people would say to me and write up in the press that I don't love test cricket because I just played it in a more of a flamboyant way. I mean, and Jofra Archer came back and said that. He says, look, I love test match cricket. It's just because, I play it a certain way that, I get this stigma that I don't really care. So I thought that was interesting that Chris Lewis even said that in one of his articles.
Yeah, and that's great, and Jofra's come out and said that. But, I think, when you're looking at his paces that he's bowled, there's been times where his pace has been nowhere near the paces that, I think we've come to kind of like Jofra Archer for. I think he's a tremendous cricketer. If I was England, I'd be managing him as best I possibly can to make sure that, he does have those kind of great enjoyment energies on Test match day. I wouldn't want him to bowl 20 overs a day. It'd be 12 to 16. Can you just come on, Jofra? Give us 3 spells as quick as you possibly can. Just try and create a bit of havoc. I don't want you bowling those kind of donkey overs in the middle, just kind of wobble seam and, bowling at 80 miles an hour. Let Broad, let Anderson bowl those kind of overs. Can you just cause a bit of chaos for, 12 to 16 overs per day? And great to hear him say that, but it's just when you see his paces drop so much in Test match cricket on a regular basis, you do start to question it.
Yeah, JL, is that the challenges for a coach, do you think? Not so much the captain getting the best out of your players throughout the whole summer when it's, a long summer?
Of course. The one thing I often say though, Beej, one thing that's helped me be hopefully a decent head coach is I've got 4 kids, and people laugh when I say that, but my point is that all my daughters all come from the same place, same upbringing. They're all so different. And it's the same. If my daughters are all different, all my players are going to be the same. So the key for the captain, the key for the coaches, the key for your teammates is to respect everyone's a bit different. I'd be really interested in Junior's view, actually, because Junior, always had this sort of laid back demeanour, was a great player, but often got, people would say the same thing, June. So I'd be interested in your take on it. But you've got to treat everyone different. And of course, the number one is getting the best out of your players, whether the captain or the vice captain, the coach or any of your teammates.
Yeah, you're right though, JL. You do get labelled reasonably early in your career as lazy, laconic. Other players get labelled as really intense. So it is something you've got to handle as a player. I don't think there's an easy answer to it, but that's where the captain and the coach come into play. As JL said, you've got to get the best out of your players. You've got to know each player individually, their character, what makes them tick. Do they need a bit of, a cuddle? Do they need some tough love? It's, every player is different. So it's the way you handle the pressure. I mean, Test match cricket's not only just about the on-field stuff, but it's about, the media these days especially. There's so much attention on the players. It's a lot tougher than we played.